Are you struggling to build a brand? Are you constantly looking for ways to improve your brand image and build a loyal customer base? Well, nowadays, customers are bombarded with so much information that it's not easy to gain their attention. So, how will you turn the tide in your favor? What is the secret formula? Well, that's what we are discussing today and spilling the beans for you. Hi, everyone. My name is Zishan, and I welcome you to another Zishan's podcast where we discuss all things branding. In today's podcast, we are spilling the beans around how you can build a brand through education. Preeti Prashar is with us today, who's a published author on top of being a communications specialist. She'll help us understand how and why brand building through education is the way for you. Hi, Preeti. How are you?
Hi, Zishan. I'm doing good. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Preeti. Thank you so much for taking out the time and joining us today. It's lovely to have you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you.
Great. Preeti, I want to ask you a question. But before I ask the question, I want to provide some context for you and for our audiences. You know, trends have changed, time has changed, and decision fatigue is a real thing. People don't really get the time to get all the information, even through the sources available on internet, on YouTube, etc. That's how, and that's where the education brand building through education comes into the picture, because if you provide all the resources at one platform, especially for a B2B organization where people go through a lot of a chain of hierarchy for the decision making aspect in itself, it's very important to present all the information on, say, on your platform itself, so that people don't have to recommend or consider any other resource for information. What I want to ask you is how brand building through education is playing an important role in today's business, and what are some of the benefits they can reap from it?
Sure. I think that's a very pertinent question because brand building through customer education is the key to get more customers to buy your brand these days. And it also helps the companies to build their brand because, like you said, everybody is bombarded with information and content, and there is so much to see and grasp and consume that customers get confused as to what is in their benefit and what is disadvantageous for them, right?
Yeah.
So, what brands would consider these days is just identifying their target audience. And then after that, they design their marketing strategy. And how they educate the customers is through content marketing, thought leadership, social media, as well as customer engagement. And I would just like to quote an example here, like Procter and Gamble.
Hmm.
They are catering to different types of audience, like since they have different types of brands, but
Right.
to cater to a particular niche segment, I would say that suppose girls of 11 to 14 years, so they wanted to educate the girls about the initial things that they face, when they're getting into puberty and various other things, to market their
Hmm.
products to this type of the age group. So they came up
Right.
with a website called beinggirl.com, and then they started populating it with more information about the types of issues which girls face, how they can tackle it, what kind of products they can use. So it was like a market expert advice to them. And I think it's doing pretty well because that becomes the voice of the brand then. So I would suggest that, in order for the brands to build a great audience and to cater to the particular segment, they should start informing the customers about what the brand is about and how can they
Right.
benefit out of it. So that's the main thing, and that is done through content marketing, customer engagement, thought leadership, and social media.
Excellent. Yeah, you just gave a beautiful example of how people does this brand building through education, especially in the B2C sector. So, just to ask you from the other way around, from B2B perspective, when
Mhm.
leaders, think of making a decision,
Right.
how do you, create a compelling argument that our product or service is the right one for them? How do you educate those people who are already at the top of their job.
Right. So I think the brands, like you said, B2B, they have to consider seven P's of marketing when they
Hmm.
design their strategy in this sector. So the seven P's would comprise product, like what are they selling, what is their core offering, and how is it different from their competitors. And then comes the price. At what price are they going to give it to the customers? Like, is it offering any value to them? Is it affordable? Or do they need to tweak the price according to the demand? Then comes place. Where is the product available? What are the channels of distribution? Is it easy for them to purchase it, or is it going to be difficult? So they consider this. And then comes promotion. That would be through social media, through advertising, through word of mouth, and keeping brand ambassadors. So all the marketing things that comes under
Right.
promotion. Then we have people, like who are the employees? What kind of experience do they give to the customers? So they have to create a similar experience through all channels, right? And
Hmm.
then comes the process. Is the process of getting the product through the customer easy, or is it difficult? So they consider
Right.
that. And then the last would be physical evidence. So where comes all the testimonials? That's why they have brand ambassadors to talk about the product and the benefits. So I think that's what the businesses consider while designing their strategies, especially when B2B decisions are considered.
Yeah, rightly so. Especially as you just pointed out that business leaders need to be multidimensional when they are creating the marketing strategy. So one of those aspects which as per my theory they need to keep in mind is also the fact that there are so many benefits you can provide to your customers.
Right.
But knowing the customer is also important. What kind of benefits they are actually looking for, because
Yes.
you cannot say, even if you have one software which is solving like thousands of problems, but you cannot go ahead and say that we are solving thousand problems. You have to pinpoint that one single problem every time, so that they see that, oh yeah, I'm looking for this is something I
Yes.
need. Yeah.
Definitely. I think that's why they do test marketing, because they collect samples and they do different types of tests before introducing the product into the market. And then after gaining feedback, then they consider any, tweaks to be done or any modifications to be made to the products. So I think it's a part and parcel of launching the product successfully in the market.
Yeah, yeah, rightly, rightly so. And just continuing with the first question, which we are discussing right now, that why is it important to build a brand through education, and what are the benefits some of the companies can offer. Another thing is that if you have informed your customers in a very nice, structured manner, they'll become loyal customers as well, because
Mhm.
they'll refer you, your website, your blogs, your vlogs, your podcast as reference points to get the information they might be looking elsewhere. So yeah, it's really important when it comes to these aspects. And just to carry on the same question ahead, how do you think, or what kind of content the businesses need to create so that they can build a brand which resonates with their audiences? What are some of the steps you would recommend?
Right. So, first of all, I would suggest rather what the process is. That would be identifying your target audience. Like you said, everybody has some or the other needs, and we have to see what benefit are we giving them, what kind of problem are we solving, and whether their needs are being met through our products.
Right.
So, first step under any process of marketing would be identifying your target audience. And then what
Right.
are the pain points and interests? So we have to consider all that. And then we have to use very clear and concise language, because everybody is not aware of your industry jargons. For
Yeah.
example, if you are using medical terms like hypertension, everybody may not be aware of that. So instead, you can use a simple term like high blood pressure. So people
Right.
can actually build tier connect with that, right? And then the
Yeah.
next step would be using storytelling. Everybody loves stories, and we have been listening to stories since childhood. So I think that continues even when we are grown ups. So we can actually weave in the story of the brand through different types of promotions and through different types of products. It's majorly to do with how we tell the story to the customers and then
Right.
build that customer experience and create those relationships with our customers. For example, if you're a financial advisor, you can share
Hmm.
stories about how your clients achieved financial freedom through your advice and using your products.
Right.
And then the next step would be making your content visually appealing, because we all know that a picture says 1,000 words,
Yeah.
and they always remain in your mind. It helps in top of mind recall as well. So we can use images, we can have videos. If we are writing any blogs, we can also weave in these aspects into our
Right.
content, use lots of infographics to make it interesting and easy to recall as well, so that our content is more engaging and people are
Absolutely.
able to understand it easily. For example, if you're a chef, you can share videos of your
Hmm.
recipes or use images to showcase the ingredients that you use, and everybody can follow the steps that how you are making those recipes and they can try it at home. So I think these four things are really important. Like, first would be building your target audience, identifying your target audience, then clear and concise language, using storytelling to convey your message, and making your content visually appealing.
Four major points. Excellent, excellent. I was just thinking about the storytelling part the other day. That how important it becomes to tell the story yourself about yourself, because
Right.
there are so many narratives going on around. People are saying some or the other thing about your brand or product, but you don't really know if it's the same thing which you want to communicate to your customers. So
Exactly.
when it comes to storytelling, my belief is that the people who work within the organization will also play an important part as the brand advocates of that certain brand.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I've been seeing on LinkedIn for some time as well. People, not just talking about random stuff anymore. They are more into educating others who want to know how it's happening. And I think this trend was started with YouTube when this self-help
Yes.
how-to videos
How
started.
to do it yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So in today's time where information is so easily available, and it's abandoned, it's there in abundance, how do you articulate a story which actually resonates with your target audience without becoming a cliche or a repetition of yourself? How do you go through that process?
I think what brands think about is, like you said, it has to be a very powerful technique of storytelling.
Yeah.
But then, social media has invaded this space a lot, and everybody tries to build, simple formats and in a very clear and concise language, which is relatable. And then we
Yeah.
try to use real life examples, because everybody wants to be connected with the brand and they want to see their story in your story, right?
Right.
So I think we
Right.
have to pick those small points where you feel that people can connect with your brand, and how you can actually create a change in their life when they start using your brands. So I would say that the key to conveying your story to the audience would be, um, like, identifying the needs, surveying the market, and then trying to come up with a strategy, which is very simple, but
Hmm.
it can go a long way in
Yeah.
creating that impact on the lives of people. So when you are
Right.
able to create that impact, is
Hmm.
when you can say that yes, we have been successful and our product is actually going to be purchased, and then you can have repeat customers over and over again. So
Right.
I would again like to mention that in this also the companies use a 3C framework. So that would
Okay.
be the customer. Like,
Hmm.
we all know that customer is king. So
Hmm.
they would do everything to read about the customers, their target audience, what are their needs and benefits, and what problem are they solving. And then competition. Like, what
Right.
are your competitors doing, which
Right.
other people are resonating with. So maybe you want to replicate it, or maybe you want to create something unique. So that's what you
Hmm.
have to evaluate. And then, of course, what the company stands for. So the third C is company. And when you're able to convey your values then people are able to connect with you. I would just like
Yeah.
to put a small statistics here. Like
Mm.
a survey has stated that about 68% to 74% of a survey sample of people, they resonated with brands who share their beliefs, their values, and that is done through social media and various interactions where you can build that connection and that engagement. Like a
Right.
HubSpot survey said that a company that blogs about 16 times a month generated 3.5 times more traffic than a company
Okay.
that blogs only 4 times a month. So it
Right.
says volumes about as much information as you can pass on to your customers in a very simple language, which they can relate
Right.
to. So I think that's the power of storytelling.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. I was just listening to you saying all these things, and I just one thing popped in my mind. When you go into this direction where you are building a brand through educating people, it is a bit elongated in nature, the process in itself,
Yes,
because you won't find all your customers in one go, because you're
absolutely.
targeting a lot of different sections within the organization or within the society or the industries you're targeting. So this slow process is also which might hamper some brands growth or scaling process in a way. So how do you balance it, the instant gratification to know that your brand is going up,
Mhm.
and still being patient enough to take it to the heights which you have imagined? How do you cope up with that balance?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. And I would say that all the brands, they have to go through a process. And at there comes a point when they think that, everything's getting stagnant and they have to scale up. So how to do that and identifying new markets, how to build their expansion strategies. So it's really important. But I would say then again, the social media plays a very important part here. Do you
Right.
remember that ad, like Cadbury, and
Yes.
when it ran into that controversy about, it had some negative publicity, right? Because some
Okay.
customers complained about the products that, it wasn't really good quality and all that stuff. So how
Hmm.
did they come out of this crisis? They hired a very well-known celebrity as their brand ambassador, and then, they told their story in such a way through that brand ambassador that everybody was convinced to come back to the product, right?
Nice.
So I think a lot of brands use that thing to rectify the situation if, something like this comes up. And
Hmm.
so like it's a sort of a crisis communication strategy which brands use to
Hmm.
rebuild that trust. And then of course after that they can think about expanding into newer markets as well. Then of course there is a comprehensive brand strategy which various brands follow. And I would like to quote Nike, Starbucks, Amazon. They all follow these steps of brand strategy, which
Yeah.
involves brand purpose. Like,
Hmm.
again, what is the purpose of your brand? Then brand
Right.
relationships. What sort
Yeah.
of relationships do you build with your customers? And then comes brand experience. Are you providing that wow experience to your customers? And then what sort of brand amplification are you trying to do? I think this is the stage where you are moving on to the next level by amplifying your brand. And if you're hiring brand ambassadors or your customers are becoming your ambassadors, they're passing on information by word of mouth. So that's the brand amplification stage. And then ultimately brand economics. What is the value that your brand is adding to your organization? So these are the steps which forms a comprehensive brand strategy, and it can lead to growth and planning for the businesses.
Great, great. We are literally spilling beans here about the secrets of branding and marketing with so much information that can, actually be turned into a guide. And people who are following us through this video, they must be, itching to know what's the third point, which we've been fussing so much about. So, just to recap a bit, the first important bit which we discussed was how brand building through education is important and what are some of its benefits. Second is what you need to do to create an audience or a brand, sorry, which resonates with your audience.
Right.
Now, coming to the important bit is how you can do it. Um, what are the things? What are the strategies you need to build, or which platforms you need to go to? Because as we started discussing in the beginning, there is abundance in even in social media platforms. We have there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's now even LinkedIn is considered
LinkedIn.
under, yeah, and Twitter is there. Even YouTube comes under social media,
Yeah.
and one of the problems which most of my clients or prospects which I've talked to, they're like that we have presence everywhere, but we are
Mhm.
not able to manage that. So how do you go about strategizing the communication aspect for brand building, uh, especially by educating the audiences? What are the some of the strategies and the platforms you would choose as per the business model?
Sure. I think you can do that by writing blogs because, like you said, there's a lot of information that is flowing through different channels. But if
Mhm.
you want to express your thoughts in a very simple and realistic manner, then I would say blogs is a very good manner in which you can convey that information to your target audience. And then, of course, you can participate in industry events where you
Right.
can just establish yourself as a thought leader and share your opinion about the trending market topics, and
Yeah.
share the platform with various other thought leaders. So that would really help when you exchange the ideas in giving your customers some idea and thought about what you think and how you want to establish yourself. And then, of course, collaborate with other influencers because
Yeah.
you're in the same industry, like, and everybody's just juggling for some space in that same industry. So collaboration is a very good way of just presenting yourself out there in the market and expressing
Right.
your opinion, educating your customers about what your brand stands for, and then offer free resources and downloadables because free information is, everybody wants free information. And so once you have established yourself as a brand that shares information and that educates customers, builds their knowledge, helps them
Right.
solve problems on their own. So I think that's where the connection starts building up with the customers. And
Right.
once you have reached a platform where you think that, everybody is coming onto your platform for gaining information, for checking out how to do things. So that's where you can just move on to the next step as to pitching your products. So, first, education is the key. And after that, I think you can go for promotion and marketing. And then you can also use email marketing because,
Oh yeah.
like, we can get newsletters or we get tips for doing different things. You have a subscriber base, and then you can do live chats with them. You can use webinars and various other things. So I think there's a lot of scope to build content through different platforms. It's just the way you want to present it. So a lot of, I
Nice. Nicely explained. I have nothing to add to it. Just maybe two more secrets to go with it. First is, which I'd say is the recurring income a blog can create, and the second is how the marketing qualified leads can come through to you through the other downloadables. So the
right.
first is the recurring income. Once you publish a blog, and that people are looking at that blog, they're reading and they're getting information, and
Mhm.
the views are increasing with each passing day, that this is something which people actually wanted to read about,
Okay.
right? So if you are somebody who has published that blog, you need to keep an eye on it. You need to
Yeah.
ensure that you're optimizing it from time to time, because I can tell you about a post which I read the other day from somebody I follow on LinkedIn.
Hmm.
He's Jason. He runs this agency by the name of Shift Your Brand.
Okay.
So he said that they published initially, in the initial days, they published a blog which helped them get a recurring income of $60 million till date.
Wow.
Just one blog. So
Yeah.
that was,
Gone viral.
yeah. and it's still going on. So
Okay.
if you are able to figure out what's that one thing people want to read about, and you can provide them information in time,
Exactly.
your blog could be a gold mine. And the
Yes.
second bit is the marketing qualified lead, which we also call MQL.
Mm-hmm.
So in marketing, MQL is really important for somebody who's working behind the scenes, because you
Right.
don't want you don't want just viewers. You want some interested audiences. So
Yes.
once you provide, as Preeti said, some free downloadable, and people download that thing, that shows that they are interested in that specific topic, or a guidebook, or whatever they have downloaded, or a white paper for that matter. And once you have their information, you can actually reach out to them and present your services, that this is what we do. As we just saw that you downloaded this, you're looking for so and so, and it becomes a MQL in its own. And once you
Yes.
have that conversation, you can easily get on to the next step as well.
Definitely. Like, look at the model that Harvard Business Review follows for their periodicals
Yeah,
and blogs. Like, you get to read a few blogs for free, but after that, when you're really
yeah,
hooked onto it, you have to
yeah.
subscribe to it.
And the intriguing bit is that you feel like reading their
Yes,
content for some reason.
exactly.
They're talk People like you and me are looking for that stuff every day, and whenever you Google for it, they are the first, generally the first ones to come up there. So
That's
you
where
feel that,
SEO comes into play.
yeah, yeah. So it's a whole lot of advantage if you stick to the strategies you build for
Right.
yourself to
Yeah,
create the content. As Preeti just mentioned, so many platforms are there, but you need to figure out, where your audiences are, where their interest lies, and what benefits you can offer them to entice them towards your services or products, right?
sure.
Yeah, and by following these strategies, you can effectively promote your brand. And if you are a leader within an organization, you can help your organization by being the thought leader in itself. Push for the topics ongoing, on your platform itself. Say on your website, you published a blog, and you posted something on LinkedIn, and people read
Yeah,
it. They can actually visit the website. So there are lots and lots of things which you can think about or figure out in this sense. Right, Preeti, it's been interesting. That includes our podcast for today. So just to sum it up, the whole thing. First, we discussed the importance of educating people and building a brand through it, and what are some of the benefits you can offer or showcase. Second is what you need to do to resonate with your ideal customer. And third, the most important bit was the strategy you need to have in place so that you get the customers you're looking for, the audience you're looking to connect with. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Do you have any last words, Preeti, for us?
I would just say that keep building content and keep telling your story.
Short and sweet. Thank you so much, Preeti. It was lovely having you today. And thank you everyone for tuning in today as well. If you found this discussion valuable, please do write to us. If you want some topic or some suggestion, we'll be happy to convey your message to Preeti, or if you want me to answer, I can do that as well. And lastly, if you have any suggestions for us, and or you want to tell us something out of this topic and you want us to cover, you can always DM or just react, celebrate, and I'll reach out to you perhaps.
Thanks,
All
Ishan,
right.
for having me today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Preeti. Lovely day. Bye bye.
Bye.